And as we reach the top, suddenly I'm zapped into the present moment. Everything around me looks so crisp and clean. It's as though the snow was vibrating. It was light filled. And I just feel incredible. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I just feel joy, and I just feel this sense of oneness. And at that point, I knew that that's what I went on the trek for, because I felt completely different, and the lump had just disappeared.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Messages of Hope, where my guest today has experienced healing, but more importantly, she provides healing to others as a board certified music therapist. This is something that interests me greatly, and I hope that you find little and big nuggets of help and healing for yourself from this conversation today. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth Clark.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's great to be here. I'm very excited.
Yay, and I might have an accent to you, but you have an accent to me. Why don't you tell everybody where you're talking to us from?
Well, I'm actually talking today from Wales, in Carmarthenshire.
What a beautiful name. Is that where you're originally from?
No, I'm originally from Nottingham. You might have heard of Robin Hood,
Of course.
and yeah, Kevin Costner in tights. So I left Nottingham quite after probably about 20 years and went to Newcastle, and then to London, and then off to France. So quite a long journey.
Okay, well, you've had more than a journey through geographical space. Your journey with angels is what interests me as we get started and rolling here. I understand you took a course in angels and that it led to a wonderful experience. Why don't you tell us about how you came to trust in angels and how they helped you?
Um, I, I've originally I was brought up Catholic, and so there's a lot of angel references in the Catholic faith. And then I left the Catholic faith, but I always had this. I always used to say this prayer with my guardian angel, and that just that was something regularly I did. And then I forgot about that probably in teenage years, moving through to adult life. I started to get a little bit more interested again in angels. I read a couple of books about them, and that was that was it. And then the big break, as you as I like to say, was when I was working in Nepal as a volunteer teacher, and I was so lonely. Only the children spoke English, and one or two of the teachers, but I just had this feeling of loneliness, and I was in a remote village. There it wasn't very easy to kind of like go out and grab a coffee somewhere. It was very, very rural. So I decided to go online when we'd had Wi-Fi, and I found this course by Hay House, Kyle Gray, Angel Guide certification course. And I
Isn't
said,
it
yes.
amazing how we long for connection? That's why we're here. And that connection is love. And here you are in this remote, isolated area, yet there's the internet allowing you connection. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and the Wi-Fi didn't always work. So it was such a gift to find this course, because I delved into it after my lessons every day. I went back to do the Cow Gray lessons of the angels, and some of the stuff, it really blew me away, because I was having difficulty with boundaries, and I said this prayer, the Archangel Michael prayer, and suddenly the person who was invading my space stopped invading my space. I mean,
Oh,
just
nice.
beautiful things like this.
Goosebumps.
And yeah, I just couldn't believe, well, I could believe it, but it was two way. And then I just meditated every day, and I started to feel the presence of my angels. I felt like kind of like a feather on the top of my head. just
Okay.
gently stroking it when I was in meditation. It was beautiful. So anyway, I was doing the meditation and every morning, but at the same time, I was starting to feel very tired and very sick. And I was thinking, oh, I hope I haven't caught like one of those tropical diseases. Sort of like had this image of all these parasites and things that you might pick up from the water or unwashed fruit or whatever. And I was thinking, oh gosh, I hope I haven't picked something up. And then at the same time, my right breast started to really ache. And I was thinking, oh, it's only because I've been moving the furniture in the school about, because every time I had a class, I had to move the furniture to make way for different groups of children. And then I went into meditation and I was told, go and check, do a self-examination of your breast. And I went when I had a shower. I went in, and the whole breast was just red. And then touching it, I could feel like this solid, hard, kind of like a hard-boiled egg in it.
Oh
And
my.
I knew exactly what it was because a couple of months earlier, I was working as an auxiliary nurse on a cancer unit at a busy city hospital, and most of my patients were breast cancer patients and cervical cancer patients. And so I'd been through lots of training and I'd seen lots of cases, so I knew exactly what I had. I knew what form of breast cancer it was, and I just thought, right, this is it. I've got to go home. I've got to go back to Britain and get treatment. But going into meditation, I was given, because I had planned to do the Annapurna trek right at the beginning of the volunteering work. I thought, right, I'll give myself a treat mid volunteering and go on this trek. But I thought, there's no way I can go now. I'll just have to go straight home. And as I went into meditation, that was the only place I could feel calmness because I was just like going into fear all the
Beautiful.
time.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I was just so scared. And then I got the information that I was going to go and do the Annapurna circuit anyway. That's what I should do.
Wow.
That's what I've had a full body knowing. Now, I'm not clairvoyant and I'm not clairaudient, but I'm clairsentient and claircognizant.
So you
And
knew.
I felt this, yeah, and knowing that I was going on this trek and I'd be safe. So, lo and behold, there I am. I'm packing my stuff up. I'm taking the rucksack and I'm thinking, how am I going to be able to carry the rucksack with this? It was really painful. And I was thinking, how? But everything kind of pieced together because the larger rucksacks are taken by a porter, a trained porter on the treks. And my smaller rucksack, I made sure that I only had minimal stuff in it. And all along the way, as from the bus, from the rural village right to Kathmandu, I kept having these just, I can only describe as just blissful, peaceful experiences that I was going to be fine.
Wow.
And then once I got to Kathmandu, there were loads of signs showing up like rainbows. I kept seeing rainbows everywhere. And I saw this before my father passed. And I know that it's a sign of peace. Peace is coming.
Okay.
And it was incredible. So I hopped on the bus and away we go to Pokhara, where the trek starts from. And I'm thinking, am I making the right decision? Am I making the right decision? And all the time I was just getting this, calm down,
When you asked
everything.
that, am I making the right decision? Was that just going out nowhere, or were you asking the angels?
I was asking the angels all the time.
Yeah,
I
that
kept
makes
saying,
such a
thank
difference.
you, angels, for reminding me of your presence. Thank you for revealing to me what I need to know. That was like I was like, that was my mantra.
Beautiful.
And as on the first day, obviously I was not physically fit to do this trek. I thought I was because I was in a rural mountain area and I had to walk up the hill nearly every day. I thought that would do. I was so wrong. I
Oh,
was so wrong.
give us just
Um,
an idea of this trek very briefly. How many, if you could put it in miles or kilometers, and a lot of elevation gain?
a lot of elevation to about 4,000 meters.
Oh, yeah.
Would it be 4,000 meters? I don't know what that is in feet.
Up 12,000 feet. That's high. That's very high. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think we actually got up to 3,500 because in the end there was so much snow, blizzards, terrible conditions. We only got as far as Chumrong, which is a little bit before the Annapurna base camp. So there I was, just putting my boots on in this restaurant where the little van dropped us off. As I'm tying up my shoelaces, I look up and there's another van coming along to drop off some more trekkers, and there's like a sticker in the window saying angel blessings, God be with you.
Oh, nice. Good
Oh, and I
sound.
got, yeah, and I just thought, wow, okay, so here's another piece of evidence. Here's another sign that I'm going to be okay. And so there I was with the two other trekkers, and they were athletes. So there's me, little wimpy me, and then these two big athletes, a male and a female, who'd done plenty of treks
Oh, my.
yeah, and our guide and the porter. And off we go. And on that first day, we did 6 hours and moving up. So it's a elevation ascend. Yeah, we're ascending, and that's when the first the prologue. Yeah, the prologue comes that I'm writing the book. The prologue comes from that I'm walking behind everybody, and nobody is it's like I'm left behind, and I'm feeling very, oh my goodness, I've made the wrong choice, and but things move on, and I start heating up really, really badly. Like I'm just so hot, and I'm taking off layers, and but I'm also getting physically sick, and we're not even at an elevation yet, so it wasn't altitude sickness. It was almost like I was expulsing something.
Yeah.
And that first day was tumultuous, and then the second day was even worse, and the third day it just got really bad that the porter was then split off and took the other two trekkers, and I was left with my guide, who was just taking. And now we're in blizzards, and we're having difficulty seeing. I'm having difficulty seeing where he is, and I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other, but I'm absolutely so nauseous, retching.
I need to ask here, did you have a choice to go back at any time, or were you now in it and that's it? There's nowhere to go but onward.
Um, there is a choice. If you're really bad, and if you get really bad altitude sickness, they will send in a helicopter, and you have to have insurance before you do the trek, saying that you've insured to have a helicopter fly in if anything happens to you.
Because I just think of how many people would have quit after the first day or the second, but here you go. You're still trekking on the third day. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, and so I think the worst day was the fourth day, and then even the tea houses we were staying in, the first tea house was okay, and then suddenly the two after, when I was really ill, suddenly got really bad, and it was difficult to find comfort at night. And then on I reckon it was the fourth or fifth day, again with the blizzards and the guide walking in front of me, and this was the biggest descent we were doing. And once I got to the so yeah, it was really difficult. He was walking on in front of me, and thank goodness he wasn't paying much attention to me, because I didn't really want anybody going, "Oh, what's the matter? Are you okay?" And I just wanted to be left alone and just retch on my own and just crawl on my own at my own pace. And we were going up and up. It was getting really to like a a point of no return. I thought if I'm either going to have a heart attack here, or what else? And as we reach the top, suddenly it's like a different story. I'm zapped into the present moment. Everything around me looks so crisp and clean. It's as though the snow was vibrating. It was light filled. And I just feel incredible. It's complete contrast from the ascent. I'm now at the top on, I think it was a rock with the guide by my side. And just, I'm feeling amazing. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I just feel joy, and I just feel this sense of oneness that everybody talks about, that I've never ever had since, and I never had before. And it was incredible. And at that point, I knew that that's what I went on the trek for, because I felt completely different, and the lump had just disappeared.
Just,
And
mm,
yeah,
mm, mm. That's called a miracle.
yeah, but I couldn't hand. This is where the paradox comes in. I couldn't handle that. I didn't feel like I deserved it at all.
Oh, wow.
And I went back to Britain, and I dived into a really deep depression.
Hmm.
Why me? Why me? And I spoke to my therapist about this. I didn't tell anybody what had happened. I just told my therapist, and I said, this has happened, and I just feel even worse. And I felt that it was a real dark night of the soul. And he said, well, it's because you don't love yourself.
That's it. And look where it showed up in the breast, at the chest, self-love. Yeah, it's so telling and so poignant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just said I don't. I, he said you don't have a sense of worth, and this is all coming up because you've got trauma that you've only kind of surface addressed, but you've
Right. So for
never
anybody that's
addressed.
had breast cancer, we're not blaming ourselves. We're
No,
noticing how that self-love and the trauma lodges literally a hard lump in your breast. It's wow. Yeah.
yeah. So I was told I had through meditation. I was told that the cancer would come back if I didn't work on the trauma. So a couple of things here. It's different. I think it's different, as you pointed out. It's different for everybody. We don't know why we get cancer. I knew for myself personally that it was because of some trauma issues that I didn't really resolve
Mhm.
and had lodged. And then the advice that I got from my angels and my guides to do the trek was for me. So I'm not advocating
Oh no,
everybody to go
tell
to
everybody to go
Annapurna.
to don't go to Nepal. No. No, no. We are advising they go into the silence and talk to their guides and
Yeah,
angels. Absolutely.
100%. I think that's the key.
So let's make a shift here now. Now you are a music therapist. You were in therapy. Now you're giving therapy to others. Were you already on that track to do that? Or is that a result of to be a therapist? Or is this something that has been born from your hard learned lessons?
Um, I got into music therapy through quite a strange process. I left Britain to I worked. So first of all, I worked in on a fashion magazine in London, and after leaving university, and I didn't really. It wasn't really my place, and it was a bit like Devil Wears Prada, and I felt really not. I just felt like this tiny mouse, and everything I did was wrong. So I didn't stay very long. I got asked to leave, and then I decided to take. At the time I had a London taxi,
May I
and
interrupt a second? Looking back on that, I'm sure that was very painful to be asked to leave. How do you see that now? As a gift?
Yeah, because that wasn't me. I loved fashion, and that was my degree. I got my degree in fashion merchandising, and I loved it. But actually, being on a fashion magazine, that just wasn't me. No matter how, it's really funny because no matter how I dress up, there was always something that was wrong. Like I'd notice a hole.
Oh,
I noticed a hole, or my the shoes weren't as shiny as the rest of the fashion editing team, or my hair would be a bit scrambled, and I looked like I just being dragged through a hedge
but
backwards. I could
these
I
are in
couldn't.
my teaching what we call snags, literally like snags on the clothes, like pay attention. There's a better way for you. So let's fast forward to music therapy though, because I'd like to find out more about that if you don't mind. Clearly, this is your path and you're
Yes.
helping people to heal. Would you tell us what music therapy is? I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but there's more to it, I'm sure.
So music therapy is using music, different musical interventions to support and help uh, people with either mental or physical disabilities, and it really makes a difference because where talking therapies might not necessarily work with some people, music is sort of like this non-confrontational space, and it can be fun, it can be joyful, and I've noticed that a lot of people just they just take to it. I think you either take to it or you don't, but most of the clients and patients I've had, they've taken to it. So I've taken, yeah. So one of the specialities that I learned was neurologic music therapy, working with people with like who've had brain traumas and stroke and these sorts of things, and using music to help speech and language, motor issues, motor dysfunctions, and also cognitive issues. So you can use music specific tools, interventions to help with all of those things.
I'm very interested in how it might help people in grief, since so many people that come to a medium are in grief. And for example, in meditation, people often ask me, is it better if I use music or I don't use music? So I'd love to pick your brain, as we say, on those approaches. Also, I'm curious why you say it's an evidence-based practice. As an evidence-based medium, that term relating to music therapy caught my.
Okay, so um, let's go back to the neurologic music therapy before I go into the palliative care or the bereavement and grief. Um, Neurologic music therapy, we can see how the brain lights up when it has music played to it. So there are many different areas in the brain which light up and which process different parts of the music. So it could be tempo, pitch, rhythm, melody, and they're all on different sides of the brain. And that's one of the reasons why it's so effective. Because if somebody has had, for example, has aphasia and they can't speak, not all aphasic patients, but we can nip back their speech patterns because they can sing. So we
Oh,
get them to
people who
sing.
can't speak can still sing?
Some of them, some of the non-fluent aphasia patients, yes.
Wow.
So we get them to sing their favorite songs, and we then do melodic intonation therapy, which is like singing sentences. I want a glass of water. Would like to go outside, and it's all sung. So
Wow.
it's kind of like through their song, through whatever songs they used to listen to, their musical autobiography. We will choose those songs to sing with them, and then we'll get them to sing certain sentences, and then eventually it spontaneous speech returns.
Wow. Fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah. So that is, and we can see the evidence based
got it.
because you can measure that.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, again, when we're doing gait training, if somebody has a hemiplegic from a stroke, or even with Parkinson's patients, you can measure their gait and see the difference of their gait over a month. If we're playing a rhythm behind them, we can see that they're getting back into a more regular pace of walking, and that can be measured as well. Plus the fact you do an MRI and you can see the plasticity, the neuroplasticity, the new networks growing back.
And
So
I
that's why we
love
call it.
I love neuroplasticity as it relates to connecting with the spirit world, because we may not measure it always with MRIs, but we can train new networks for expanding our consciousness and connecting with the angels and guides. So
Yes.
neuroplasticity means you're not stuck with the programming you have right now.
Not at all, not at all. And that's a really fascinating thing because, some people who've had strokes, if you get the rehabilitation straight away, then they can recover a lot of what they've lost.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm such a fan of neuroplasticity because yeah, with the meditation, you start one day and you think, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do this." And then you do it another, you push through, and it becomes the habit. And that's the neural pathway.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody who says I can't quiet my mind, you'll never be able to completely quiet it, but you can train it to have longer periods of peace that last throughout the day. Right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because I mean, I was a very flippity gibbet. So if I can do it, I'm sure anybody can.
I love that term. I couldn't spell that if you asked me to. Flippity. So, why don't you answer that question, and we'll get on to helping people with grief and depression and such. But what is your feeling? What are your thoughts on meditating with or without music?
Really good question. I think it's really individual, as much as our musical autobiography is very individual, and one music for one patient won't work with another patient.
Ah,
So I feel that music in meditation, either you feel that that's something which will connect you to a higher realm, and it does in some circumstances, or either you just feel that you want to be totally in silence, and that would work as well. I think it's so individual. I personally do not listen to music when I meditate.
a music
However,
therapist who doesn't listen to music when she meditates. I love that. See, we're breaking paradigms here.
but I will go into a relaxed state using music, different types of music.
Would you
Um,
talk to me about this? You've mentioned it twice now, a person's musical autobiography.
so when it's our life, it's the music of our life. So whether been brought up into a religious background, so we've got the hymns, or we've got whatever religious connotation, denomination. You have the mantras, the prayers, the bhajans, or whatever. You have that as your musical culture, or maybe you loved certain types of TV programs. There'll be music from the TV programs which will you'll love to
I'm
listen to.
hearing the theme
Music.
song from the Brady Bunch popping up right now. Not know that show, but you just all of a sudden took me back. So I'm thinking, what would my biography be?
Yeah, and that's such an interesting thing about music as well, because instantly that took you back,
Yeah.
and it's like a smell. You can smell something, and then instantly, coffee is quite a regular one, but something a bit unusual, like your grandmother's perfume,
Mm.
or something like that, will just take you back, and you think, wow, and then all your memories from that period will come flooding back to you, and that's exactly the same with music. And I think that's why it's so important as well for dementia patients to be able to listen to their music, because it lights them up and it brings back that spark. I've seen it happen, and it's amazing. Um, yeah, just the power of music. So going back to, sorry, the autobiography, music autobiography, it's all the songs we used to listen to. It's our culture. What culture were we in? Religious, and also different states of America. I'm sure they've all got their songs, and anthems, and also because you've been in the military, you will have also had military songs that you would have had to have sung. So it's all that makes up our musical autobiography.
And how do we use that? How can, is it helpful to us beyond musical therapy, or is it just an interesting fact that that will take us back to memory?
So if obviously if it's a patient, a dementia patient, or a, a stroke patient, or brain injury patient, it will take them back to a time which might be a positive experience for them, and something. And if we're in a positive mood, and we're listening to this music which enforces this positive mood, then we're more likely to be able to make a good recovery, do that neuroplasticity, uh, all those sorts of good stuff. It's raises our vibration, I would say, to
Yeah.
listen to music that we love, that brings us joy. If we're feeling a little depressed, we're going to go to maybe a certain song that we know that would lift us. I don't have anything. I think listening to sad music can be good sometimes. I think it can be cathartic, but I also, if you're stuck in that mode of only listening to that type of music, that probably would not be a good idea, and it would be good to kind of bring you into some other music, which would probably make a bridge into some other more uplifting music.
So having
So
said that, then it sounds like it would be a good idea if somebody's grieving to create a playlist of more positive songs
exactly.
when
Exactly.
something brings you down, huh?
That's why I was going to give some tools and tips. I was going to say, if you can think about all the songs that you love, that you know you can put them on now and get up and have a boogie and have a little dance, then these are the songs that you have on a playlist, so that when you're feeling down, you can just pop them on and get up and have a dance. I think that also movement helps us get into that, and that's why music's so good. If you have this music with a beat and you enjoy dancing, then to put that on, it really helps
Yeah.
to just bring you out of the depression and into something
I'd
a
like to
little
know
lighter.
from your expertise and training how it actually affects the brain, because, and chemically as well, because I know that I have a playlist for working out and exercising and even just fast walks. Can't run anymore, but I often like to go out walking for exercises with my husband, and we don't like to listen to music because it shuts us off from each other. So we talk, but I miss that lift. So every once in a while, we'll go on our own, or I'll say, let's listen to music. And just, it gets endorphins going in me.
Endorphins going, yeah, and then all that good stuff, oxytocin. Um, I like to, so talking about physical exercise, sometimes if I'm feeling down, or I've got a job interview, or I will do a victory dance.
Oh,
So I will put on some music, and then I will just jump and dance around and do my most silly movements, because maybe nobody's watching. And if they are, I don't care, and just go for it. And it's I just imagine that I'm having a great outcome for this job interview, or I'm having a great outcome of meeting this person, and that gets the endorphins running, and oxytocin, and all that good stuff, chemicals. And I got that tip from Dr. David Hamilton, who's a Hay House author. He's kind of like the scientist of kindness and why kindness is good for us. And he's always doing the victory dances. So I took that up. I thought that was brilliant, and I speak to my clients about that too. You know, just put some music on because, as well, it's an entrainment effect. The music has this entrainment effect. It makes you want to get up. It makes you want to tap your foot, and that is all happening in the brain is all it's all happening in the brain to get you to move, and that's we use that as well as an intervention for somebody who is doing physiotherapy. We'll put on the music, and that will give them that boost to, yes, I want to reach this goal. And yes, I will go another 5 minutes doing this horrible exercise, but I'm enjoying the music. So, yeah, it's all good stuff.
Outstanding. Yeah, it's a good thing people can't see me before I do my monthly connection webinars sometimes, because I'll come up here and I have certain songs that really get me going, and it absolutely builds the energy. The spiritualists who do readings, who've done them for over a century, know the value of singing before a demonstration, right?
Yeah.
Talk about singing, because I'm all until now I'm thinking more about the music that I listen to, but what is that an additive benefit to sing along, or does it make any difference?
I think so. When we listen to music, that's more of a receptive music therapy. So when we're singing or playing an instrument, that's more of an active music therapy approach. And singing, I mean, you can have this. I remember going to a choir and feeling in a really bad mood and just really grumpy and rude to people. And I'm thinking, I don't like this attitude. And I go to the choir and I start singing, and I'm coming out and I'm loving everybody. I'm
Oh,
thinking, ooh,
I
you
feel it.
know, it's just the singing, it can just take you again, raise your vibration, take you to another level. And you don't even have to be a good singer or a
That's
professional.
a good thing with me.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we have a voice, it's our smallest instrument, and we carry it around wherever we go. I mean, how cool is that?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
So I definitely recommend people to sing along to. For example, I love singing along to musicals, My Fair Lady, uh, and
Is
South
that I Feel
Pacific.
Pretty? Is that from My Fair Lady?
No, My Fair Lady is all I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air. With one enormous chair, oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
Oh, I love it. Yep. You're taking me back. That's my parents' musical autobiography, which became mine, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's lovely, isn't it? Because you just want to sing.
Yeah. Huh.
It just
And
yeah,
how
the entrainment effect.
words decades later, right? Yeah. So I read some of the materials you sent me with great interest, and there was a part there where you're tapping on people's left hand while they're singing songs as a
Okay, so that's
what does that do?
yeah, yeah. So that actually activates a part of the brain which is connected to the formation of when we talk the words. So when I'm tapping somebody's hand, I'm doing melodic intonation therapy. So you remember I talked about some people who have aphasia,
Yes.
so
Yes.
they'll be singing one of their songs from their musical autobiography, and then will be holding their hand and tapping the rhythm of the phrase,
Ah,
and that helps them speak the phrase in that rhythm.
okay.
So it's all with a goal of getting them back to speaking spontaneously. If they can only say maybe one word, or it's all with the goal of getting them back, knitting back speech patterns to get
Okay.
them to speak normally, spontaneously. and it works. I've
Awesome.
yeah we yeah I've had many patients who it takes. I mean, it works to certain degrees. Some patients have really flourished, and others they get back their speech. Sometimes it's a little hindered, but apart from that, it's a wonderful tool.
Yeah. How have you brought in your connection with your guides and angels into your work?
I feel that for me, there's no coincidence if I have a certain patient or a certain client. They're
Mm,
brought they come for a reason, and I I meditate before I have any
beautiful.
any session, and I try not to be too okay, so I've planned this and this,
Okay.
but I don't want to, if something evolves in the session, in the music therapy session, I don't want to say, oh, but that wasn't in my planning. I want the client to feel that they have that room again for spontaneity.
I see.
Um, and I feel humbled that I do this work, and I feel that I was guided to do this work, and I try and support the person as best I can. And it's not always about seeing their disability. I believe it's seeing the potential in that person, their potentiality. They have so much to offer, and I trust that if they're with me, then it's my job to support them on their recovery journey, to get to all that, to bring out all their gifts, and to have that experience of recovery that they're
I can
supposed to
see that,
have.
but see,
Yeah.
you weren't meant to be in the fashion industry. You've found your passion and a good fit. It's
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
your energy. It's just beautiful and it's flowing. You don't have the book yet, but you're writing it because I have a video of you reading that introductory story that you
Yeah.
shared with us so beautifully earlier. So we look forward to when the book comes out. I'll share it with everybody. You have a website?
Yes, I do. It's www.elizabethclarke without an E on the end .org, and people can reach me there, and I will answer any emails or questions about music therapy, or yeah, just just if you feel drawn to writing, then please do.
Watch
All
out, you might get flooded. You might get flooded, but that would be a blessing. And then see where spirit takes you with that. You said you had some tools. I beat you to the gun with the one about having a playlist. What else advice can you give with to people about using music to help us heal and grow?
um, well, okay, so I got my David Hamilton victory dance.
Yes, that's good.
If you're feeling a little low, um, I suggest that you put on your favorite music and you will move to it. I think the very thing of moving to a piece of music makes all the difference. If
Okay.
you're
I
if you're
love
not
that. I
able,
hadn't thought of that. I just usually put the music on other than right before I work here in this room. But anytime, get up off the couch, right, and move. Yeah.
yeah, and this goes for non-able-bodied people as well. They can just move the whatever they can. I've worked with just people who can only wink. Anything. If you're with that music and let that music carry you where you need to go, where it's going to carry you, you will be surprised. I think that's a really I love that tool. So my victory dancing, the playlist. Also, what's interesting I wanted to mention as well is sometimes if you we were talking we got off the subject about the bereavement, but I've also noticed that your loved ones will send you songs as well
Oh,
that you had
yes.
in common,
Yeah.
and that's so lovely. That's happened to me a couple of times.
Share how we love the story. So, what was your magical moment of connection across the veil?
Okay, so one of the things is that my my father and I, we used to listen to My Fair Lady, and just when he was in hospital, just before he passed away to the other side, we listened and we sang a couple of songs together, and then recently I've heard, not so recently, but after he passed, I there were the songs we sang together that came up in very unusual places. I'm trying to think now. I know that happened, but I
Timing
can't
is, the location, the timing. Why are they playing that song now, right?
exactly. In fact, you've just reminded me. It was in a garden centre, and it was Christmas time, and there was a guy playing the piano, and my father had just passed 1 month before, and the guy was playing one of the songs that we were singing.
That's perfect. It shows how your dad put that thought in his mind. So your dad would have seen you walk in there and oh, a pianist, play the song.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was really cool. I really loved that. Um, so that's okay. So that's what I like as well. If you have songs that connect you with loved ones as well, that bring back happy memories, and so you make yourself the playlist. And what else have I got? The victory dancing playlist. Oh, when you're listening to music, if you don't want to listen to music in a guided meditation fashion, you can always just sit with the music on. And what would be what I like to do is I like to really let myself be taken on a journey with the music and really go into the music. So go into the depth of the music. We're talking about the layers of the music, the tempos, the dynamics, and just really pay attention. In fact, you can do this with a really well-known song or a well-known piece of music. Just pick up all the nuances that you might, so you're actually mindfully listening to the music. I think that's the best way of putting it.
that's what I was going to say. This is a practice in presence and really excellent for learning mediumship and connecting across the veil because you can notice things you wouldn't normally, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it really makes you pay attention to the music. I mean, I thought I knew some of the songs I listen to all the time, and then when you actually go in and I want to listen to this in a different way, let me listen to this in a different way, and then have that intention, and then how is this different? And oh, I didn't realize that did that there. Oh, I didn't hear that trumpet there before. That's interesting. So yeah, I'd
That will
recommend
help you
that
when
as
you're
well.
in meditation, trying to notice who's here talking to you. Is my loved one here? You're listening, noticing present, noticing nuances, and
Yeah,
perfect training. Yeah,
yeah.
excellent. Well, any final advice or words of wisdom for our audience?
Um,
That your
I
angels guide you.
I think that we are all guided, and if we can understand that and feel that and have those moments when we have our synchronicities or snags, then we're guided. We know we're guided. So it's not like a part-time thing. I believe we're always guided. So it's just like we remember that we're guided only with the synchronicities, but then to have that feeling of something going wrong, or you're feeling very nervous about something, just say, okay, I've got a team behind me. Come in, team, and over and out. Come in and help, and then just trust that the help comes.
Well, you're
And
taking me
that's
back to your opening story here about going on that trek. How many people would have just given up? But you were clearly guided. You got the guidance. Here you're in a state of fear, ready to go back home to England, and you listened and you acted on it, and you had a miracle. So, yeah, ask for the guidance. Come in, team. That's it. It doesn't have to be any
yeah,
more formal than that. Yeah. Well, thank you. You are just a lovely, lovely, beautiful person. I want to say lovely soul, but we're all lovely souls, right?
yeah, yeah.
But a
Oh,
beautiful person as well. And I thank you for coming on and sharing with all of us. I'm going to go out and make a new playlist.
Yay!
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you'll do the same and examine, really pay attention to the kind of music you're playing in the background and how that affects your energy field. So important. Go out and have a great week. We'll see you back here next time.
But wait, Suzanne, I think you forgot something.
I'm thrilled that my new Hay House book, The Awakened Way, Making the Connection to a Divinely Guided Life, has now been released to the world. Find out more at theawakenedway.org. This is a handbook, a guidebook for living in a new dimension. I hope you'll check it out.